There once was a traveler who hauled a mountain on their back. Not a literal mountain, of course, but something heavier still. The weight of every choice they wished undone. Every paused dream, every moment they said they weren't enough. For years this traveler moved bent forward, eyes locked on the earth a few steps ahead. They'd grown so used to the load, they forgot the feeling of standing tall. The mountain had become a name they answered to. I am the one who carries, they would whisper. This is who I am. One morning, the traveler reached a plain wooden bridge. Nothing impressive, nothing ornate, just worn boards over a quiet stream. As they neared it, something unusual occurred. They stopped. No thunderclap of insight, no blazing vision. They simply stopped. In the pause, they felt what had been missing for years. Solid ground beneath their soles, cool air on their skin, the gentle hush of water slipping over. Stones. When did I last hear water? They wondered. The question startled them. They couldn't recall deciding to stop. Yet, there they were, motionless for the first time in so long they'd forgotten how. Step by step, one day at a time. The elders always said it, but the traveler hadn't grasped it until this moment. Standing at the lip of an ordinary bridge, they realized it meant this right here, right now. One foot, then the other. They set the right foot on the first board. The wood held firm, then the left foot joined. The mountain on their back shifted, but it did not tumble. Another step, and another, the same motions as always. Yet somehow, everything felt new. Midway across the span, the traveler finally saw it. The mountain remained, yes, but with each step it felt less like a fate and more like freight, something they bore, not something that bore them. I am not my weight, they said aloud, and their voice crossed the stream like a small prayer. I am the one who chooses to keep walking. On the far side of the bridge, the traveler did not put the mountain down. They didn't have to, because they understood at last what it had been teaching all along. Their legs had grown strong by carrying it. Their heart had learned a steady rhythm by walking. Their spirit had toughened by choosing, again and again, to continue. But here's the truth. Exhaustion is not your name. The traveler had long believed that tired meant weak, that struggle meant failure. In the morning light, it finally came clear. Fatigue was information. It said you have worked, you have tried, you have moved forward even when the way was hidden. And this moment is proof, not proof of flawlessness or arrival, but of something far more precious. That change doesn't demand a total makeover. It asks only this: the willingness to take the next step. Even when you're tired, especially when you're tired, you weren't lucky. The traveler knew it now. Luck is what people say when they don't see 1,000 small decisions the countless times you choose to go on. Lucky names the result, not the road. No, you were honest. Honest enough to admit the weight was heavy. Honest enough to stop pretending it wasn't there. Honest enough to feel the ground and call it solid. Even when everything else felt uncertain, you were brave. Brave enough to keep moving when motion felt impossible. Brave enough to be still when moving had become automatic. Brave enough to question the stories you told yourself about who you are and what you can carry. And you were ready. Not ready as you once imagined, fully prepared, completely healed, perfectly equipped, but ready in the only way that matters. Ready to begin again. Right here, right now, with whatever you have. The traveler walked that day, and the next, and the day after. The mountain remained, but it no longer defined them. Some days it pressed heavier, Some days it lifted. Some days they moved quickly. Other days they barely crawled. Still, they went on, because real change rarely announces itself with fanfare. It happens in the narrow spaces between steps in the choice to move, when yesterday's weariness still clings to your bones. In the breath taken just before deciding that this ordinary, unremarkable moment is where you start becoming who you're meant to be. And the bridge remains. Not the wooden one in the tale, but the one beneath you now, the span between who you were and who you are becoming. The place where exhaustion turns into message, where honesty ripens into courage, where readiness means being willing to be unready yet beginning anyway. And if you listen, you can hear it. Not the voice that says, wait until you're stronger, more prepared, less tired. But the older voice, the one that knows, the one that whispers, this is where you start to change. Not tomorrow, not when the weight eases, not when the path clears. Here, now, one foot before the other, because the mountain you carry has been training you for this moment all along and you are ready.